Listen up! There is a storm coming! Like nothing you have ever seen!
G'day, folks. How are you this very fine evening? I hope you've had a, reasonable time of it, if nothing else. It's been one of those power out kind of last 24 hours or so for us where we've been. I hope you have not suffered, as badly. It hasn't been all that bad. The power did come back on late this morning, but had some issues from late yesterday, hence no show last night. I apologise for that. It was just pouring rain here for most of the day, and it could be worse. We could be getting a cyclone, which is, of course, what far north Queensland are getting at the moment. Yet another one. This one seems to have come in around the Gulf country, though, so at least it's not the East Coast that's being beaten up this time, or maybe it is. I haven't had a good look at the weather map. I will in the not-too-distant future. Hello to everybody who is sitting in the chat tonight. I did mark a few things. Dave Jolly, you've written a whole heap of questions. So I'm going to address yours first up. I have a question. How is it principled or moral for one to spruik off about things that never come to fruition? Let's be honest, what has changed or brought accountability? Well, I guess objectivity and what you see and what I see might be two different things, Dave. I might try and get you to understand things from my perspective, and maybe you can't. And that's no great issue. I have no problem with you not understanding from my perspective, the same as I may not see it from yours. And I don't blame you or hold you accountable or think worse of you because you have a different opinion to me. I look forward to those two sets of ideas coming together and maybe both of us gaining a bit of education out of it. That's what I like. What I don't like is the aggressiveness or the smart-assness or the I'm not saying it's coming from you, but from certain sections of the community that are hostile, I think is the word I'm looking for, to those sorts of conversations. That's where your principles and your morals probably come in as much as anywhere else. And I do take your point about principles and morals. This is where people's discernment, I believe, has to come into play. I believe you, when you meet someone, when you shake their hand, when you spend a little bit of time with them, you should be getting triggers, signals inside of you, that little wee voice inside you, saying good or bad things about the person that you're meeting. It happens with me, and I've got to admit, I wasn't listening for years and years and years. There were too many other voices, go and have that extra drink, go and have that smoke, go and have that party, go and have that whatever. I was listening to those voices. And quite often, the voice you should be listening to is strong, but it is mixed in with the choir of others. And if you're not attuned to it, are not willing to listen to it, then odds are you aren't going to hear it. And if you are hearing it, you're not listening to it. I guess I'm talking about your conscience, but I don't know. I think it's more than that. I think we have every one of us, except those that have an inbuilt evil desire. I think those of us that have an inbuilt desire to do good and who aren't openly desirous or greedy, I think, those sort of people sort of shine through a bit. If you find this is what my place is all about, we're looking for people in my place that want to do more for the community than they want to do for themselves. So that's a good start, I think, if you're looking for someone, provided they're a doer in your community. That's a good start to be looking for someone who you could send to Canberra to represent you at some stage in the future, maybe sooner rather than later. There's a lot of talk about that going around at the moment, folks. A lot of talk about where do people like me, and I suspect you, go, because we see nothing worth voting for. If they could count the amount of votes that aren't given as a sign that says we have no faith in any of you, no faith in putting any of you up, and they took that as a sign, well, that'd be better. But then they'd enact some form of play legislation and they would make it okay for them to still be in power. So we need new people. We need new blood. We need you. If you are a genuine person who wants to do the right thing by your community, are not looking to enrich yourself, because the platforms that maybe a party or a group of individuals united under a particular banner might put forward would include term limits. I would hope not just for the politicians, but for the bureaucrats as well. It would include a tax system. It would include reform of the judicial system, which I would have at the forefront. I would be championing for a return to trial by jury. With this abundance that's meant to be coming our way, I would wager that there'd be one or two of us that could spend some time sitting in juries, playing our role in the community. And that's keeping the criminals accountable, but also keeping the police accountable. Because as we are seeing increasingly now, in many cases across the country, in every state, the police are being shouted down by the judges. They are losing their cases, and they are being reprimanded severely for the fractious way they have been bringing charges, and in some cases the illegal way they've been bringing charges to people. So, yeah, where do our morals and our principles kick in there? Well, once again, my morals may be different to yours. I would hope that we could all, if we needed guidance, there really is only, I think, one place to go and look. It's very simple. It's very easy. There are 10 lines to remember, and that would be the 10 Commandments. I figure if you live by the 10 Commandments and the intent of the 10 Commandments, do not kill, do not covet thy neighbor's wife. So, do not go and screw your neighbor next door. Do not go and steal your next door neighbor's stuff. This is all pretty reasonable kind of stuff for us to live by as a moral code. If you actually take God out of it, if you're offended by God, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, just look at the 10 Commandments in isolation. Are they not a good way to live a life? Is it not a good system on which to base a group of people, a civilization? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. So if more of us maybe looked at it without the fractious, oh, it's God again, get your Bible, go bashing. Actually, look, let's just speak about the Bible here for a second. Wait one moment. I'll return. Can you see? Right. What you can't see is that's beside my bed. What's beside my bed? The Bible. Now, this is the new Community Bible, right? Now, I've been learning a bit about Bibles recently. One point that is always brought up about Bibles is that, oh God, who wrote it? When was it written? Who wrote it? Who interpreted it? What the hell went on with it? Everybody gets a different idea. Every Bible is different. How do you know which one to read? Which one's right? They're all just a story interpreted thousands of years after the bloke who actually supposedly committed all these great things. You know the stories. So, got me thinking and then got me learning. And thankful to some folks that I met in Canberra last weekend, I learned a very interesting fact about copyright legislation or copyright in the literary world. You too can write your own Bible. You too can take any Bible you like and base your Bible on that Bible or this Bible. All you have to do is change 30% of it. That's how you gain copyright over a new work that you create. Have a think about that. This one happens to be the New Community Bible, Catholic edition. Thank you to Tash, who gave me this. What Bible have you got? What year was it made? What year was it copyrighted? Go through and have a look. This one's a very recent one, but there are others, and there are many changes, and that's why old Bibles are important. King James V Bibles, in particular, the 1611 King James V, is a very important Bible. There is also another Bible written by Prince James that predates the King James Bible. That too is a very important Bible. The oldest Bible that is currently known is the Ethiopian Bible, which they believe was written about 800 years after Jesus lived. It has been translated, and it has 99 books, including the Book of Enoch and others, in it. Actually, I want to say it has more than that. I want to say it has 120 plus books to it. There are other Bibles, but ever since I wager the printing press has been invented and copyright laws were enacted, anybody who wanted to write a new Bible or put out a new edition had to change 30% of the source document to do so. How many changes have been made over the years? Does this validate the argument that people put forward that God's Bible is not, really God's word at all? It's just the mashed up words of a lot of people who are interpreting something that somebody else interpreted and handed down, probably vocally, rather than by papyrus, back in the day. I thought that an interesting fact, though. Just something, pardon me, for the mind to work over a little bit. Every Bible, when it gains copyright, has to change 30% of its source documentation for it to be a new document. Something to think about. If you do happen to have a King James V Bible, I'd love one. Really would. We're on to some, and some friends have managed to get a hold of them, I believe, from the Bibles were for sale in Melbourne, but I think the friends that got a hold of them are in Sydney. So I'm looking forward. I don't think I have them in their hands yet. I'm looking forward to hearing and or seeing those at some stage in the near future. Very powerful books. Very powerful books. You see, if I were to walk into a court holding this Bible, it might raise a few eyebrows, but it's not going to worry anybody particularly. You walk in with a 1611 King James V Bible under your wing, you're going to get noticed. Big time. Big time. And there are reasons for that, but tonight is not the show to try and get into those. All right. Hello, Aussie Sue. God love you. Lovely to see you in tonight. Jack, good to have you in too, mate. I hope things aren't too wet up your way, Suze. I think the storm is north of you. I want to say probably northwest of you a bit. But I probably suspect you'll be getting a bit of water. Maria and Malcolm Roberts on Rumble last night, they were talking about the grubberment. Yes. Power supply. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Maria's stealing my stuff. I don't know. She's not. But yeah, a friend of mine, hello, Ebbs. She's a tattoo artist. Ladies, if you ever need a very feminine type tattoo, this is your girl. She does Mandela. Oh, anyway, we'll get off it. She was complaining that her tattoo parlor was very hot, and she had the air conditioning set at sort of like 18 or 16 degrees or something, and it just was 34 or something inside it. She suffered from just what Malcolm Roberts and I suspect Maria were talking about, and that is the smart meter in your home controls major appliances in your home. It will control how much power they are allowed to use. And why do they do that? Well, because in Queensland's case, we've been knocking over coal-fired power stations now for a while, putting up the big fans that they have to turn off if the wind blows stronger than about 15 knots, because that's too dangerous for them. Then they can't operate. We've yet to have a successful battery system fitted up, so any power that they could create is either pumped straight into the grid to light maybe one house per street in a very small town, because that's about how useful the power systems are. You can put, 1,000 of these things, as was their plan, to put 1,000 of them off Wollongong, and all that power was going to go to one place. Certainly wasn't Wollongong, but people were paying for this. No, it was going to go to BlueScope Steel. But they would wreck the fishing grounds off Wollongong and associated other industries, because you're not allowed within a bull's roar of these fields. You can't sail your boats through them. You can't go fishing around them. You just got to stay the hell away from them, because you might see them spewing oil or bursting into fire and falling into the ocean or something worse. God help you. But anyway, tonight I was having a bit of a chat this afternoon with our man Vince in the house, and we've been talking a lot the last few week or so about various different aspects of what we're doing going forward. And Vince, as you know, works extremely hard behind the scenes for not only me with the Voice of Freedom, but he is the brains and brawn behind FBN. He does a lot and is doing a lot for the radio station. In fact, he's probably doing more for the radio station at the moment than I am, which we will get up and going. And I couldn't do this without him. So I want you folks to really understand just how important this man is to me when he comes into the show, because he's a very quiet bloke. He doesn't say too much about himself. He does have a business that he runs, and he has the odd health concern as well. But whenever I have a problem, whenever I've done something stupid to my computer, whenever I can't get something to work, I have one phone number, and it's his, and he invariably always answers. So thank you very much, Vince, for being there for me, for being there not only just for me technically, but you're a bloody good mate, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Don't always answer him. If I'm asleep, it just rings.
Come on, I've just boosted you up to buggery here.
I know. Thank you very much for the edification. I appreciate it.
No, mate. Now I got to say, last time I had you on, there was no beard. We have decided to come back with a vengeance with the beard. And can I say how dapper it looks, but also how dark.
Yeah, that shocked the heck out of me as well.
Better do a profile for everybody. Hang on, I'll get myself out of the picture.
Okay. So before it was all nice and grey all the way up both sides, and I had a nice grey, like intelligent look here, which I've lost obviously. But this time, when I've grown it back, it's come back dark, and I can only put it down to one thing that's different. And it happens to be that little thing scrolling across the bottom of the page, the X39s.
Yeah, right.
I mean, right? Even my hair's darker, which is weird.
Well, I
Not
was
what I'm
going
taking the
to say something
X39
about
for.
your hair, actually. Yeah, because
Well,
I
yeah,
hadn't
I'm
noticed.
trying to get my professor hair going. There we go. Right,
Yeah.
you see that? Nice professor hair. So, remember the old Julius Sumner Miller days?
Why is it so? I
Yeah.
remember that, but very, very well. Yeah, X39. Well, there have been reports from ladies in particular and their hairdressers who've ladies have been of a certain age and have gone into their hairdresser to have a color put through, and they've been told, oh, you don't need as much color, or you don't need any color, or what have you been doing? There's no grays. And it has been the X39 patch. It's the only thing the ladies have been doing differently. So clearly it works for blokes as well.
Yep.
There's nobody's saying there is no grey. Clearly there is a touch of a little
Oh, yeah.
whiteness in what you've got. But you are now more pepper than salt. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, when we met, you remember how much salt I had? It was a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're not quite Santa Claus like me, but yeah, you were very salty. I'll give you that. Absolutely.
Both in attitude and beard. No, sorry,
Yeah.
you couldn't resist that.
Yeah. Just before we keep going, Dave Jolly's got a whole raft of questions, and I think I only answered the first one to him. So they are good questions, though. So I want to get to those. His second question was, all this division, egos, biases, self-prejudices, would it not be beneficial to the whole movement, everyone really, if we had more discussions on what principles and morals are? I would agree. Yes, we would. But some of the people that you might want to invite to that table have to have certain principles and morals to want to be there. And there may not be those sorts of people who are still important but need a seat at the table. So, yeah. Now, many people stay there still awake, including myself, still living the same mindset as usual. We all know one is complicit in the crimes that they're doing as they say. How is that moral or principled? Well, it's not. And could this not be God's lesson to us? By raising this conversation, are we not making others aware of that moral obligation, not their, but that moral obligation, or the principled approach? You've got to remember, Dave, we've had this drilled out of us, brainwashed out of us, not just out of our lifetimes, but out of our parents, out of our grandparents, and out of our great-grandparents, and before.
And worse for our children now.
Yeah, and a lot worse for our children now. So if we are having this principled and morality discussion, then I think we, first of all, yes, we need to have it. Second, we need to be willing to accept that principles and morals have not been taught in schools in my lifetime. I mean, you're taught sort of how to be a good person, but if I really had to tell you where my principles and morals came from, I would say my parents, and maybe Cubs, because you wanted to dib, dib, dib. You didn't want to dob, 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 but you also wanted that badge. So I don't know. Maybe there's God knows there's a whole lot of bad shit to do with Cubs, but and I was never a good knot tire. But we have had our morals and our principles tempted away from us. And I think that is in part what the message God would have us get is. We need to get back to that. So, yes, how do we get people back to it? Because many people are afraid of the God connotation with morals or morality and principles. I don't think it personally needs to be religious, but we do need to have a base on what we agree is moral, what we agree is principled. And we know that there are immoral and unprincipled people who would like to be involved in formulating those sorts of questions. So I don't know. How do we get through it? We shall find out.
There's a one there that the gentleman just put up. Carl, if you can just start that on the way through, and I'll answer that question for him about LifeWave patches and supporting me. If you can see that and grab it.
Oh, okay. Is that in the live chat?
In the chat, yeah.
Go down the bottom of that. So all these talk shows, podcasts, screen discussions, and yet one person I know teaching each other how to be better principled moral people. Well, I would argue that there are people out there who are trying to do that and trying to do it without maybe forcing a Bible down people's throats. Not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to have a Bible to be principled or moral. I think you probably do have to have a basic understanding, or at least something similar to a working use of something like the Ten Commandments. But outside of that, if you can't tell right from wrong, odds are there's a problem, don't you think?
Wow.
And who is the
educated?
and then the Greens, then the Greens amongst us will say, who are the who's the arbiter of right and wrong? Male and female, all that sort of crap. I'm sorry, mate. I'm still looking for the nice more Christians would raise their voice. Yes, I'm with you, Jack. Unfortunately, I think you'll find a lot of Christians are very scared of raising their voice because they have been indoctrinated by the church, the Catholic Church. Doesn't matter what brand of church you go to visit, you've been indoctrinated by the Catholic Church all the way through. And that's very confronting to people of faith, of very strong faith. Some are starting to wake up to it, including the clergy. There are some members of the clergy who are just really starting to wake up to it. But I think we've got a long way to go to get get help from them. I'm just trying to have a bit of a skip here and find this question you were looking for. But if you remember what it is, go and ask it. Go and answer it.
Okay. So it was basically someone asked, how do they use, or how can they support me by signing up for a LifeWave patch under my name? To be honest,
right,
guys, while I do that business as well, effectively Carl is under me. So if you support Carl, I get a little bit of that anyway if I build my own business. If I don't, then I don't. But the point is, I'd much rather it go to Carl and the FBN network than come into my pocket personally. Okay. But if you wanted to, it is, I will post it in the YouTube chat now. It is that one. So it should just pop up in the chat in a minute.
Very, very good. Very, very good. Very,
right,
very good.
So, but generally,
DM, is it a pyramid scheme? Well,
it's a binary system.
It's a binary system.
Marketing.
Yeah. But it's something I mean, entirely up to you. If it works, buy it. If it doesn't work, don't buy it. That's how
exactly
we
right.
both view the product. If it works for you, would you be crazy not to use it, wouldn't you? If it doesn't work for you, then don't use it.
Proof.
I'm not trying to get you to buy a new, toilet roll or a new toilet sanitizer or a new dishwashing liquid. I don't care whether you get your dishes washed clean and they sparkle or your shit bowl sparkles or whatever. I do care whether or not you feel pain. And if these X39 patches stop you feeling some or all of your pain, then hallelujah. Thank God for you. Not for me, for you. Because I don't suffer chronic pain. All right. I suffer, and I've had a patch on the last couple of days because I've had a bad back, been carrying on. I should wear them every day. I don't. But there are people who do because they have chronic pain, and it's changed their lives. And I couldn't be happier. So the small percentage or the small dollars that come to Voice of Freedom or come to the bus out of everyone who buys a packet of these, it's $15 we get, goes straight into the petrol tank of the bus. We don't do any huge, great brand building, although Tim and Corinne Dwyer are they're the ones directly above me, I think, who introduced me to it, and I think they're probably above you too, Vince.
Yeah, they are.
They really know how to market this as a business. Now, if you want to do that, you can. I will help facilitate my members to join their members and do whatever business you want to do out of it. I don't have the time to dedicate as a business to run around and do this. I'm happy to share the knowledge, and you can go and try them by clicking on that link down there. And if they work for you, then great. I have handed out at my own personal cost probably $300 worth of patches, and I still have some to hand out. That's why I don't wear one every day, because every day I don't wear one means I've got one spare to give away to somebody who is in greater pain than me. So I do that because I can't afford to keep buying 30 patches every month and just giving them away to people as much as I'd like to. I want to be into that sort of position, and maybe I should be treating this like a business. I could be in that position, but I've just got a few other things on, and it doesn't allow me to dedicate the time that I probably should to the X39 side of the business. But I trust Tim and Corinne, implicitly, and they're going to help you grow your business if that's what you want to make it. If you do not want to make it a business, if you just want to get off your opioid medication, if you just want to get off the big pharma pills that you're being prescribed and still suffering under, then if this works, it's the ideal way to do it, I would have thought. But it's only a decision for you. If you decide to buy patches, we get $15 worth of fuel out of it. At $2 a litre, that's 7.5 litres of fuel. And I have
your current H2 rate. That's what? How many kilometres?
Well, I've got
about 48. I think
I've got an 8.7 litre engine. So
yeah. Oh, gone. Okay.
Yeah. So your 7.5 litres will nearly fill my engine for one cycle. Anyway,
you shouldn't actually let us two characters get together, because we just get ourselves in a whole heap of trouble here.
Yeah. Not going to help.
All right, for the guy who was asking what are these patches, go back and have a look over some of Carl's previous videos on either YouTube or Rumble. You'll find out what they're about. As we've got lots of other things to discuss tonight, so we better move forward.
All right, digital ID. There's a lot of talk about that coming into the world now. You've been doing a bit of research on to digital ID. I got to say, from my position, I am hesitant about it at every regard. Am I being stupid, or am I being wary, cautious?
Well, definitely the second one would be what I would say. If you're going to look at anything logically, you've got to look at both the positives for it and the negatives for it. Right. So what I'm about to talk about in no way is an endorsement, right? But please understand that there are positives to a digital ID. Right. Having one ID that is always available, that you can just tap and go and not have to go chasing around your birth certificate and your driver's license and your Medicard and all this sort of stuff. You just go, bang, here's my ID. I've signed up for a new bank account, or I've signed up for whatever it might be that requires it, Medicare or whatever. So it's easy, it's useful, it just makes life easy for people. And that's basically how they're going to sell it. Okay. Is that a bad thing? Well, if it was properly managed, probably not. Right? If the people who were managing it were people we could trust, it would be a good idea. Which brings us into the cons of it. Right? Now we get to, is the people who are managing it people we can trust? Right? I don't think so. Right?
No, me either.
And next question, why do we have to have so many, already there are databases all over the place that are talking to each other. A classic example is to do with one of my daughters. She hadn't enrolled in the federal election for the federal referendum. She hadn't got to that stage yet, but somewhere along the line, she must have ticked the box on one of the other forms, and they enrolled her automatically without her knowledge. So just be aware of that. It's actually in the Electoral Act. I went and looked it up. It's there. They can do that. They can add you, right? And of course, she's thinking she's not enrolled, so she never voted. Guess what came in the mail?
Fine.
Yep. So we had a bit of a discussion about that. There's a whole heap of other interesting stuff, but she doesn't want me to reveal it, so I'm just going to shut up. Otherwise, she'll come get me. All right.
No, we don't constitute elder abuse, especially
no, well,
on the live stream.
No, especially not on a live stream. But then you've got the other parts that come along with that. Once they've got a digital ID and they start getting control of all that, you start looking at what can they do with that. Well, anything's going to be authenticated against. They're going to say to start off with, it will be, okay, we'll just look at this once. It proves who you are. From that point on, you can use your bank card and do whatever you want. Right? That's how they instigate everything we've had in society. Oh, this is the good idea. Here it is. And it won't go any further than that until it does, until it goes to the next step, until it goes to the next step, goes to the next step. And we see this creep happening all the time.
Yep.
So what will happen is that they will be able to say, hey, well, we know this digital ID, we're going to now link that to your bank account, or we're going to link that to your driver's license, or we're going to link that to your Medicare, and it's going to get to the point where they will bring in that social credit score system.
Yeah.
There is no ifs, buts, or doubts about that, right? So we have to look at it and say, well, do we want the ease of use of this one ID tap and go and give them the chance to control the rest of our life or not?
Well,
right?
not
there are so
choice.
many. Yeah, well, not's my choice as well. Right? But already we live in a digital environment. We already have so many things. I mean, let your dog go wandering at large and get fined for it over here in South Australia. If you don't pay the fine, they take away your driver's license. It's like,
not your dog.
Not your dog. No, they take away your driver's license. So,
they do.
That is the overreach that we live in nowadays.
Yeah.
So, boom.
The way we're all going to get punished.
Yeah. So why would we want it? We don't need it. Right?
No.
There's plenty of databases talking to each other now. We don't need to make their life any easier than possible. It's their life, not ours, when you really look at it.
All right. With digital ID usually comes talk of crypto. Now, we've looked into different sorts of crypto. You've tried educating me. QSI have tried educating me. Other friends have tried to educate me, and I am still as uneducated as any 58-year-old bloke could be about crypto. I know more about CBDCs, and they scare me,
Yep.
than I know
And they
about
should.
crypto. And why then are we having this to and fro in the open world about crypto versus CBDC? And, XRP sounds like it's going to be the winner out of all of this. What does that mean to people like me?
All right. So the goal, and we've seen it, is that the government and the banks are trying to move out of the customer service area into the we will hold your finances and that type of situation. The cryptocurrency side of it is that they will want to bring in a CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency, of which I've heard Trump said he won't allow that to happen. But that'll be interesting. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
But the challenge that they've got in doing that, while they can take our Australian dollars and turn them into a digital currency, which actually effectively is, unless we've got a physical dollar in our hand, right? They can take that and turn that into a digital currency and then remove over a period of time of 2 or 3 years, start removing all the cash from there, and so that you are tied to that bank account and that digital currency. They then can control that because it's totally 100% programmable, right? Like people, they say, go buy your meat. Oh no, you passed your meat allowance for the month.
Yeah.
That sounds so futuristically bullshit. The unfortunate part is that it's not, right? So once they've got control of the digital currency, they control you, right? Why we have cash and the ability to walk around and purchase at a yard sale, somebody's, a lamp or whatever, so someone's making a bit of pocket money. They don't have control over us 100%. The second part to that is about the cryptos that are out there as an unregulated market. There's like 12,000 odd different types of tokens or coins that are available in the crypto unregulated market at the moment. That is a threat to the CBDCs because it's another way people can transmit and do money transfers over the net without involving a central bank. Right? Note that without involving a central bank or a government. What is that class? That's, I would guess that's probably called freedom.
Yeah.
Right? So there are some currencies that are good. There are some currencies that are not good. Picking the best out of the 12,000,
That's
it's a bit of a gambler's game. Right?
Yeah.
Very much a gambler's game. But there are a few stable type ones that are out there. For instance, XRP, which is owned by Ripple, which is their network, distributed network, is all owned by their own servers, so it's not really distributed. Right? You've got something like Bitcoin, which is owned by multiple servers around the world, not owned by any particular person. So that one is a really as I say, decentralized. You've got XRP, you've got Ethereum, you've got Monero, you've got a whole heap of other coins, and he's disappeared on me, that are all decentralized. Stellar's one of those, which is a public source program. So you can get into some of these cryptos and you can use them to transact and do bits and pieces with. But it's a direct threat to CBDC, so the governments are going to want to try and regulate that.
I just want to say that's the only thing I trust.
And it's the best thing too. Yes, 100%. You don't want me to go and get the ones I got? No, I'll shut up.
Well, you'd be showing off because they'd be bigger than the one that I have.
Only because I nicked a
I had to
little
get
bit
it out of a special bag. But that's, I mean, that's $40 or whatever it is, that the Ainsley 1 ounce little bar. But I, for all the information I've been given, and I've been given a lot from good friends, from new acquaintances, from learned people around the world. I've been given advice on crypto. I have still never put one of my dollars into crypto, but I have bought the odd $40 bit of silver.
The advantage
and
of that silver is that it doesn't fluctuate as much as the crypto market does in pricing, right? So
Yeah,
you can pretty much guarantee that gold and silver are going to just grow and grow and grow. And if we do end up with some currencies that are backed by the actual metal as it used to be, that would be fantastic. Right.
and
But a smart person never right has all his eggs in one basket.
all the eggs in one basket. No, you're right. And
Right.
even Ainsley will tell you that. Cass will tell you that when you're looking at self-managed super funds, you don't stick all your eggs in one basket. I've got very few eggs and only a very tiny basket. It looks like it's overflowing. It's just an illusion. People have asked about setting up crypto wallets and being able to donate crypto to us through Voice of Freedom, through FBN. And I know that Ainsley have set up a crypto area. They do a lot of crypto advice and consulting and management and buying and selling. And they've set up a wallet for us that people can donate to through there if they so desire. But is that something that that people really want? I don't know. It's just,
well, why don't we ask the crowd? I mean, we've got them here. They're all sitting there. They can put would you donate to a crypto wallet for the FBN network or the Voice of Freedom? Put a yes or a no.
It'd just be set up through Ainsley Bullion.
Sorry?
Be set up through Ainsley Bullion. So and Cass, looks after all the administration of that end of it. But I mean, we can do it absolutely while people are considering that, or not.
No, Sunflower said no. That's okay. Good on you, Sunflower.
You
no. Yes.
No. Well, I to be honest, I'd be happier with the silver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nothing to say that we can't get Ainsley to take the crypto from there and convert it to silver. Understand this, guys, that when you donate to the Voice of Freedom now or the FBN network, right, it goes through a Stripe payment system, which we get charged, obviously, a certain amount of money to have that running, a percentage of whatever is donated. If you donated it via crypto, right, there would be a little bit that would go to the Freedom Network that builds the cryptos, right? But the rest goes straight here and the banks get zip.
Oh, okay.
Just as a point. Excuse me for a sec.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. You run off and do your thing. I've been off doing it mine. I've been approached by I don't know how many of you in the last probably 6 months has been the heaviest, but really over the last 12 months or so. A lot of people have come up and asked me for help with your computers, how to do this, how to do that, how to do the other. Now, I can help you with things like streaming software, microphones when I remember to turn them on, and and a few other bits and pieces. But when it comes to actually the fiddly bits to do with your PC or your laptop, I know nothing. And once again, Vince is my man. Now, I want to be able to help Vince a little bit too, because he is a small business in a regional country town, and we're going to be coming to a lot more regional country towns this year with a view to wanting to help out small businesses, not unlike Vince's. Now, Vince has I think, some unbelievable skills. He may not be the only computer technician in the country, but he's mine, and he's bloody good. And I thought, well, maybe we can help your business a little bit, Vince, if you're prepared to help people online like you help me, like you log into my computer and help me fix things, and I trust you. That's a big thing. If you're going to let anybody into your computer, my first thing would be make sure they don't talk like this. And the second thing would be make sure they have a face that looks like Vince's. It's a face you could trust. So if you need some computer help, is that something you'd be up to help our people with, mate. Some of them have got some rather interesting security issues.
Yeah.
No, we're not
We've
going to
got-
offer you to. We don't want you to do this for free. Obviously, this is your business. This is what you do,
Yeah.
and we want to promote your business.
Okay, so effectively, I can, if a person's got internet, or even I could talk to them over phone, and maybe trying to connect internet. But if they have internet, all right, there is an option where I can remote into their machine and help sort out issues or bugs, or as long as they've got an active internet connection. That is done through my own server system, so it's not directly related to any of the others that are out there, like TeamViewer or anything like that anymore. That way, it's very, very private. I am happy to do that for people, because while I sit in a small country town, it is a small country town, so I don't get a lot of business coming through on that, which is why I have so much time to volunteer for Voice of Freedom or FBN or Unity Hub or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that, and I'm also happy to do for our people who mention Voice of Freedom or FBN. I'm happy to do that at $60 an hour instead of my usual $90 an hour.
Oh, wow. Thank you, mate.
Okay. And one more thing, for everybody who mentions this, because I believe our businesses need to support our freedom networks and our people who are doing the right thing. For everybody who mentions FBN or Voice of Freedom, I will also take $10 of that per hour that I am there and give that to the FBN network and Voice of Freedom.
Oh, mate.
All right.
Really
I know you didn't know that was coming, mate, but sorry.
No, thank you, mate. But really,
it needs to be done. We need the businesses out there to support the FBN network, because in all fairness, I have a financial involvement in FBN. So let's be clear about that. All right. But I didn't get involved in there for simply making money. I got in there because we need the Freedom Broadcasting Network out there doing the job, offsetting the lame bought media and telling the truth in this country.
Yeah. And if you want to go back to the business plan I gave you, mate, I don't think there was ever any plan to make money out of FBN.
No, you pretty much said I was going to lose it. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, none of us are making money.
It doesn't matter. It's not for us. It's for the people. And
I agree.
People are going to say, you're going to be kidding. You've got to be some sort of greed. Well, mate, I'm at the end of my life. I've got nothing to leave. You know, I can't take it with me. It's like whatever's left is for my kids. That's it.
So this goes to anybody who might think they've copped a bad email, clicked on a link they shouldn't have, and have now been infected by something that's doing nasty things to them, or if they're unsure whether or not, Rajat Gupta at the other end of the phone is genuine.
Well, I can tell you now, never, ever, 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 ever. Oh, sorry, that's a lot of evers. It's almost infinity. Never let anybody into your computer unless you know who they are, right? Or you've rang them. Now, even that's a trap, ringing them, because you'll get these messages, your computer's infected, ring this Microsoft support number, and land up in India and then get scammed and whatever. Never, ever do that. I tell my local people here, if you want to let me in the computer, that's fine, no worries, because you can come around and punch me in the nose. You know where I live.
Yeah. And just for anybody watching that uses Vince's services, I'll let you know where he lives. And
you don't have to. It's all over the net, mate. My phone number's over the net.
Oh, that's true. You're everywhere. Yeah.
I have my phone numbers there. I'm easy to find. There's no worries. It's the virtual hub. You can have a look at my website, which is so basic it doesn't exist. There goes my daughter to go get pizza.
Dinner's coming.
Yeah. So I'm happy. I don't care. You can dox me. My numbers are already live. It makes no difference.
No, you don't care. You're one of those good men. What the hell is a Contra server?
So, the contract, that's our contrib server.
Oh, right.
Remember? Well, so, guys, we put up a contrib server, which the trolls took great advantage of and uploaded the same file multiple times, etc. and so on, which just effectively got deleted. So it didn't do them anything except waste their internet and their time. But we have a contrib server that we've set up for FBN Network and Voice of Freedom, where we can get information from you guys out there. You are our reporters. You are the guys who's seeing it on the ground. If you find something that's interesting, you can upload it to our contrib server. Right, and we'll have a look at it and check it out. And if it's something that we can use, then we'll use it.
So if you're seeing something outrageous happening in your local supermarket, for instance, like all of a sudden they're putting doors on the fridges and on the shelves, that has been happening in certain parts of Australia, Victoria predominantly at the moment. Those doors will eventually be magnetically locked and will only open on facial recognition, and only if your credit score allows. You won't be able to get food out of it.
CBDCs or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, well, similar thing. Similar kind of thing, isn't it? But
it could be just some violence that you might spot someday down the street that's happening, and it may be directly related to a certain, how to put this the best way, a certain philosophy of new incoming people to the country. How's that?
Yes, I can understand where you're going with that.
Or what?
The violence would probably be happening out in front of a house to rent, where 750,000 new arrivals next year are going to be turning up at the houses that are already getting 300 and 400 people turn up to look at a 2-bedroom shithole being charged 4 times what it's worth for rent. That's what's happening all around
that. Over in England right now, they're starting to evict elderly out of homes over there so that they can put newcomers in. That they're doing using the laws for a legal buyback. I didn't say illegal. Wow. I said a legal buyback. Now, those laws exist in this country as well, so just be aware of that.
Wow, okay. That'll be one to keep an eye out for. Can you imagine what's going to happen when they come for People's Housing Commission house? Oh, that's going to be interesting.
What are we going to do? Fight them off with the pitchfork? Anyway.
Well, that is the $64,000 question, isn't it? What are we going to do? And that probably gets us to an election. What are we going to do there? We're going to elect the same people to do the same
we've got
shit?
to spend more time. We've got to spend more time in getting people to see common sense. Now, common sense is not common. So
it's rather
that's
uncommon,
why we need the FBN network. That's why we need to be able to tap into like Truth Seekers and Cairns News and guys like that. We start building this tree of information.
Speaking of Cairns News, we're streaming live on Cairns News Rumble channel tonight as well for the first time.
Oh, so hello, Cairns News.
They've given us permission to put the Voice of Freedom on their show, on their channel every night. So hello to Cairns News viewers for the first time. Lovely to have you on board, and lovely to be part of the Cairns News team. For those of you that aren't aware of what Cairns News is, one of the best websites in Australia, cairnsnews.org. Go and have a look. A lot of real truthful stories there, and a lot of great insight from the writers involved. And shortly, you might see a few more familiar faces popping up writing stories there, and we're going to be providing a bit more video content to them. In fact, at the moment, we are putting together a Far North Queensland, well, let's call it a Queensland tour, that will commence a little later on this year, and will go a number of months. So if you are in Far North Queensland, if you've got an event in your town that you'd like us to come and have a look at, we'd love to come. I can give you an idea. No event is too big or too small. There is a wheelbarrow race that happens between Mareeba and Chillagoe every year. There is half a possibility that we might be live streaming that event, at least to the best of capabilities. That's a distance of 140 kilometres of wheelbarrow pushing. with a stop overnight halfway at a pub in the middle of nowhere. And you can imagine what that night's going to be like. So there'll be a live stream out of there as well. And one at the finish
you get
line.
all the good show, mate. I get to sit behind the computer desk here and miss out on all of that.
I'm figuring at some point we are going to need technical support, mate. And you know, there's an airport.
Oh, you got to give me a live feed through the remote view.
Yeah, that'll be how it'll work. Yes.
Okay, Scotty on Rumble has just asked, "Where am I, mate? I'm in Mannum, South Australia. Quite happy to tell you." Okay.
Yeah. We don't.
So you've got a bit of a chat happening there in the Rumble live stream, which is great.
Yeah, brilliant. So g'day to everybody on the Rumble streams. And if you are watching on None2K, that is the only YouTube channel that is still left, and we don't know how. I wrote them a letter saying, give me back access to the back end of my channel, and they took down one that they hadn't found before. So
I'd just shut up if I were you.
I'm not gonna
say no more.
Yeah, not going to say.
They mucked up somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah, they can't figure it out. Should I point it out to them?
Right. Well, we do need to probably look at, and you and I discuss that stuff off air about setting up other things.
Yes.
I have a question for the crowd, though.
Yep.
With the new FBN network that we're setting up, which Voice of Freedom is not part of, but is sort of. I don't know if you can explain that better, Carl.
So think of FBN as a network. So think of it as like Channel 9, Channel 7, ABC, something like that. So think of it as a one all-encompassing media organization, of which there is a TV and a radio arm, and within which there are hours of programming every day. That programming is available for people in our, I guess on our side of the argument, because there is no our side of the argument in mainstream media. So if you want to hear truth, it will be a network you can come to truth on. Now, yes, Voice of Freedom will be on there. The show will be on that network, but it might be something different on that network. It might be a breakfast show, for instance, on the radio station, and a bit of video on the TV side. It could be live events where I'm there, but I have my FBN hat on, which means I'm pushing buttons and making sure cameras are pointed, rather than sitting in front of those cameras doing a show. I would do shows. There you go. I would do shows, maybe before that,
that's
or after that.
My place hat.
But it would be an FBN event if we're coming in to film, let's say, a festival or a show or a rodeo, for instance, something like that. Then we would live stream the rodeo to FBN. It wouldn't be a Voice of Freedom thing. If they needed somebody to call the rodeo and they didn't have anybody better, then yes, I would help out and do that for them or whatever they needed. But for the most part, they have their own callers, all that sort of stuff. What we provide are the television back ends and the radio back ends, the cameras, the microphones, and the ability to live stream from anywhere with a multiple camera stream. So FBN will provide that. Voice of Freedom will still be my show, and it will still carry on. It'll just do so under the FBN network banner. Yes, there will be others who come on and have their shows, both on the radio and the TV side of that too. We're still talking to and working out details with folks. Some are...
Sorry, I was just looking at...
Some have an interesting view on how this should work. Some people believe they're already ready to be paid like Ray Martin. Rather than actually be able to act like him. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But yes, they believe they're already, six-figure a year multimedia stars and deserve to be paid to come on the network. Well, I agree. I agree 100%. However, from a network perspective, for the network to pay you six figures to come on and spruik whatever particular bent you have, we've got to make at least twice
8
what you're
figures.
making. Yeah. We've got to make at least twice what you're making. So, what benefit do you bring the network that's going to generate that kind of income? What benefit is an advertiser going to see in you and your program that's going to generate that level of income for yourself? That would be my question to you. And if you can provide a reasonable answer, then I will provide you the airtime. You bring us the sponsor. We will sort it out for you. Very happy to give the airtime up.
And the point being that it's not going to be you follow this narrative, right?
No,
we're
I'm not
going
laying
to
down
have
laws.
reporters that are actually going to be able to say this, that, like a bit what we did tonight. What's the fors for a digital ID and what's the against for a digital ID?
Yeah, and
We
there
want
might
people
be
to
people
be-
who have differing opinions on things. Guru and I have differing opinions on many things, but broadly speaking, we are running up that same hill. We have one goal in mind, and that's to beat these bastards. Now, the way he does it, I might consider a bit different to the way I do it, as he would consider the way I do it a bit different to the way he does it. That doesn't make what he's doing wrong or what I'm doing right, or vice versa. It just means we're fighting a different path up the same hill, and I'm happy to support that. I want to support that, and FBN should be able to be a platform for others who are fighting their way up that hill to gain some traction in the broader movement. Now, we can hurt and hinder ourselves with such an open programming philosophy. There'll be many people who will be immediately turned off by the thought of somebody coming on for an hour a day or an hour a week or an hour a month and extolling the virtues of a flat earth and trying to prove, how it's flat, why it's flat, and why we're all morons for thinking that, it's not flat.
The discussions I have with my son over that, it's unbelievable.
There are some interesting discussions to be had, and that's how I want FBN to be. Discussions. Yes, you can bring your argument to the table about the flat earth or the round earth, and let's hear it, because we'll have the other side of it as well that wants to bring the opposing argument. And that makes for really entertaining education in my book. I learn more from two people having a discussion, not an argument, but having a discussion from opposing perspectives than I do from reading books or listening to mainstream media. So that's what I hope FBN can be, somewhere where people can listen to differing views, can express those differing views and still walk away friends, because at the end of the day, we have to be humans and love each other before anything else. If we can't look after one another first, it doesn't matter what solutions we bring to the table for anything else. The first one has to be to look after us, to fix us, where we leave no one behind. Where we go one, we go all.
Well, hopefully, except for those who are too stuck in their ways to move from the spot and quite happily doing the complaining.
And there are those that just simply will not be moved, and that's okay. God gave us choice,
exactly.
And
Scotty,
and
sorry,
consequences.
Just going to answer an IT question. Scott T. Lucky, try Brave browser. That'll solve half your problems.
Well, that was a bit out of your side of your mouth there, mate. Was that a sneaky little bit of a tip on the side? The Brave browser is, a good one.
And he'll know what I'm talking about because I'm just reading his comments. So
very good. Should I open Opera?
Well, Opera's another option, but yeah, Brave's quite a nice one in that. Just ignore the cryptocurrency part of it.
Yeah.
Also, guys, it'd be really good if we can get some ideas from everybody who's viewing what they would like to see on the FBN network. Because
Yeah, and on our website.
On our website, yeah.
Should we have meme of the day? Should we have a chat room? Should we have, should we have a buy, swap, and sell kind of area? Do you want to have a health tips area? Do you want to have somebody
Careful. I have to program this.
Sorry, man. Shouldn't have got me started.
Yeah.
You get the idea. What would you like to see on our website? And that, in part, will form a basis for what you will hear and see on the network. Because while I think I know what you might like to hear and see, you may not like to hear and see it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There might be other things. Are you interested in boating, fishing, camping? I'm interested in all those three things and can't do any of them, but it should be fun watching me try. There's a lot of shit we can do. We just need to know what you're interested in. I'm particularly interested in showing some of the crafts that people come up with around the towns that we go and visit. The skills, the woodworking, the needlework, the skills that I think are in great part being lost today because so many of the young people can't put down the iPad and pick up a needle or a set of knitting needles or a chisel and learn from, well, probably a father or more likely a grandfather these days, how to make something with your own hands. So, and we can't blame them for it because the kids are being programmed this way too. They are being programmed into a digital or a virtual existence. God help our grandchildren or their grandchildren, because God, can you imagine the crop of kids that's going to wind up running this country in the next 30 years?
Yeah,
I mean,
let's not go there. Hopefully they'll get some of this grey stuff called wisdom.
And if they do and get embarrassed about it, get onto the X39 patches, because then you can lose the grey and still keep the wisdom.
Lose the grey, yeah. Good one. All right, so how about we give them an email address that they can send their suggestions to, Carl?
Absolutely, yeah. Faye's got a great one, Nuremberg 2.0. I think that one's already well and truly on the table. So our email address, suggestions at...
He had to make it a hard one to spell.
Oh, did I? I thought we'd come up with, well...
That's all right, I've done it. Suggestions at fbnmedia.online.
There you go.
I will also, generate a password.
Suggestions at fbnmedia.online.
I will post it in the YouTube chat, and you should be able to get it from there.
Posted it too. So there you go. There's our suggestion box. Suggestions at fbnmedia.online. That will also be the website once we get the website up and running.
There's a front page for it there now, but we do have another gentleman who's going to help set that up for us, which is really great.
Yeah, he's a legend of a human being who's currently packing his house up in New Zealand and moving it back to Australia. Seen the light after a dozen years over there in the land of the long white cloud. So good. It'll be very good to have him home. He's an old radio buddy of mine, and undoubtedly we will have him on the show at some stage, and we will be talking music and all those good things that you'd expect out of a radio station. Have you got anything else for me, mate?
Freedom Financial Solutions, who's a great supporter of both the FBN network and for Voice of Freedom, along with Ainsley. And both of those guys are also supporting my place. So hang on, let me just change hats. my place. All right. So Cass has kindly offered to supply information and various bits and pieces to the Unity Hub. So we've set her up inside the Unity Hub for my place. You will find her there under Freedom Financial Solutions, FFS. I so love that name. I love the last three initials. And she's in there now. So once again, showing that she's just a business out there trying to do right via the people and helping them get out of the traps that are super.
Yeah.
Right. So,
if you need a warrior on your side, you need Cass
she
Smith.
is one of them.
She is a warrior, and she will fight for everything for you, folks. If you're looking for some advice when it comes to self-managed super funds, Cass is the lady to talk to. And you can email her direct, cass@vofhq.com, or catch up with her in the Unity Hub or through me. We'll figure all that out. All right, I'm going to shoot off, Vince. You have yourself a fabulous weekend. You going down to the Murray to catch cod, or just going to go and scare a car?
I'm probably going to head into Adelaide and go to a local law assembly where the sheriffs are holding in Adelaide this week. I'm trying to remember exactly. It's one of the parks there, but they are definitely in there, and they're just sort of explaining what a local, what a common law sheriff's about, and they're having a bit of a picnic. So I'm probably going to head to that. That's on Sunday, the day after the rally we have here.
Some interesting things happen in South Australia. Court has ruled that employers who mandated their staff take the spicy jab can be found liable for injuries caused. That's going to be a big matter of discussion, I would imagine, in a lot of homes, particularly of business owners in South Australia over the next week or so.
Yeah, well, they literally hung the employers out to dry. They can't, saying it's mandated by the state, and now the state's saying, well, no, we're not responsible for that.
No.
I mean, most business people should have seen that coming a mile away.
Well, if they were watching The Voice of Freedom, they would have heard about it. Night one. The government backed out. The government quite clearly said, federal and state, that they don't mandate. They're not telling people what to do, but they did coerce business into it. But every business owner had the choice. Once again, it comes down to choice. And if you made the choice to follow the government coercion because you thought it was a great idea to tell people how and what they should have put in their bodies, and you didn't think of the legal consequences, much less investigate your exposure to the legal liability in that situation, then you're an idiot, a serious idiot. The first thing I did, and I didn't even own a business that was affected by this, the first thing I did was go and check what sort of liability I would have as a business owner if I demanded an employee had something they didn't want shoved into them, and what protections I could expect from the government. The answer is none. Absolutely none. And the government have said so in press conferences, in videotape press conferences. So don't ever expect the government's going to get you off, and don't expect a woe is me out of the courts. You're going to get nailed. Everybody who gets sick.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if those who are looking for my assistance on the private side for computers, bits and pieces, you can just contact me at vince@vofhq.org.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff. And I can't recommend his services enough, folks. He is a whiz. What you can't see is the 17 different screens he has sitting around him at the moment. So he can do things with his fingers and toes you'd be amazed at. And before I get too excited, we won't leap into the 3 digital printers that he has lying around him in the background there somewhere. So
yeah, you can't see it. I've got it blurred out.
yeah. Mate, thanks very much. You have yourself a great weekend, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, mate. You too. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, mate. The wonderful Vince Panel. And if you do need any computer help, Vince is your man. Vince at vofhq.com. He will help you out and give you a bit of a discount on the hourly rate that he normally charges. Bloody huge discount, I've got to say. And he's even going to give a little bit of that to us. So thank you very much, Vince. We don't expect it, but it will be gratefully accepted. And like I say, every little bit goes into the petrol tank. That's what it's all about. If you want to be joined, if you want to become part of our little crew, folks, there's going to be some good members benefits coming up this year. So you can go to our website, vofhq.com, and join as a member from as little as $1.25 a week. You can also just go there and throw a few bucks in the donate button if you so desire. Folks in Queensland, get prepared. We are coming your way for an extended period of time. There might be a trip to Victoria and back between the trip to far north Queensland and back yet. We're working on a few different things. If you are interested in self-managed super funds and learning more, if you want to learn more about gold and silver and whether or not it can play a role in your life, a beneficial role in your life, then Ainsley Bullion and Cass from Freedom Financial Solutions will be on the road at many of these events with us. So you can listen to them. If you've got questions, they're very happy to answer them, and they're not going to charge you anything for it. Remember, last time we spoke, I talked about the scammer that's appearing as a precious metals consultant, let's say. Stay away from anybody who's going to charge you money to tell you what to buy, gold and silver wise. Stay away from anyone who directs you to a certain business and buying a certain kind of bar, one that has an X or a blue circle or a square or whatever stamped on it. You're being told lies, and the consultancy fee that you are being charged is no fee at all. You don't need to pay a fee if you go to reputable people like Ainsley Bullion, like Cass from Freedom Financial Solutions. Then they don't charge you to answer your questions. There's no compulsory, you must buy from us if I answer a question from you deal. They will happily answer all your questions and hold the door open for you on the way out. If you choose not to buy anything, that's up to you. Don't be robbed, particularly in the precious metals market, by scammers. All right. It's a new area. It's the first time we've heard of them moving into it like this. It might be old school, I don't know, but it's the first time I've really had to deal with it. So be aware, anybody who's offering you a precious metals consultancy or a consult on what you should and shouldn't buy, cost you 150 odd bucks, stay away from them. All right. They're ripping you off. They are ripping you off. They are not in any position to offer financial advice, nor am I. Don't put your hand in your pocket and hand out your hard-earned to people like that, when you can simply pick up the phone and call Ainsley in Melbourne or Brisbane, and they will answer any question you want on the phone for you. Or if you want to walk into their office and ask them face-to-face, you can do that too. They're very happy to see you anytime, day or, well, just day. Night's a bit hard. They're not open at night. Anyway, go and have a great weekend, folks. There is a chance I will shoot a show out over the weekend at some stage. I'm working on something at the moment which has just been very demanding of my time. When the time is right and I've finished it, I will bring it to you so that you can get a little bit of an idea of where we're going and what we're doing over the next, 12 months. Love your work, folks. Love your support. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing in your community to wake people up, to maybe not scare those that are waking up too badly. Keep up the good effort. Keep up the good work. Keep up the hard fight. There's more fighting to be done, more awakening to be done. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that in the not too distant future, there might be something of the cavalry arriving. Let's put it that way. But rest assured, if the cavalry does arrive, they will clean up a few of those dickheads on the road.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!